Hello, everyone. Coming up here on the Pro Wrestling Show presents the Raw Ring Report. As you see right here, a championship match, a rematch from Raw 3 weeks ago, as Aaliyah and Raquel Rodriguez defend their women's tag team titles against Dakota Kai and Iro Sky with Bailey as Damage Control. Can Damage Control emerge the tag team champions? We'll talk about it coming up. Also, too, the main event. Rey Mysterio's son Dominic has joined forces and joined sided with the Judgment Day. Rhea Ripley has been a voice in his ear. Constantly, Rhea Ripley probably be the detriment to Dominic by telling Dominic things that Dominic wants to hear and believing that Dominic's a man. But Dominic has his biggest, toughest challenge to date when he takes on the radar superstar Edge. One on one, Dominic versus Edge. That's coming up tonight, as well as Johnny Gargano returns to the ring in action in nearly 9 months. Johnny Gargano back into the WWE ring on the Raw brand. Johnny Gargano looking forward to getting his match tonight. We'll talk about who his opponent will be. None other than Chad Gable. This is going to be an instant classic. We'll talk about that. As well as Bianca Bella, the Raw Women's Champion, as an open challenge. She'll take on all comers. Bianca Belair proving that she's a fighting champion ever since winning the championship at WrestleMania. Bianca Belair wants to be a fighting champion. I mean, there's a lot going on with Bianca and stuff. We'll get to it. And plus, too, coming up on Hot Topics, could this be a possibility? I mean, a possibility indeed. Could we be seeing the Young Bucks coming to WWE? They've been sending feelers out coming about what they want to do if things don't work out in AEW. Man, there's a lot going on for real. All right, the Pro Wrestling Show. The Pro Wrestling Show starts right now. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this edition of the Pro Wrestling Show. I'm your host, as always, Kendrick Dix here. Glad you can join us here on the Pro Wrestling Show. Like I said, this is the Raw Ring Report. We're getting recaps, reviews, and highlights from tonight's Monday Night Raw. But first thing first, join in the conversation using the hashtag Pro Wrestling here on Connect TV. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss a thing here on the Pro Wrestling Show. We're here. Thank you all for watching all our main channels, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. Thank you all for watching. We are the Pro Wrestling Show where wrestling matters. And we got a lot to get into. As you see right here, the Women's Tag Team Championships are online. Raquel, Aaliyah defend their first title defense against Dakota Kai and Iro Sky. We'll get to that coming up on our Raw Ring Report coming up shortly. But we want to talk about, and then too, plus on Hot Topics, we told you, could the Young Bucks be the ones joining WWE? Could they just leave the elite and join the entertainment portion of WWE? Only time will tell on that. We'll get to that coming up on Hot Topics later on in the show. That'll be coming up later. All right, we're gonna get to the nitty gritty. We're gonna get to the Monday Night Raw Ring Report here on the Pro Wrestling Show. As you see right here, Raw kicked off with none other than the Messiah, Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins having the confrontation with Riddle. Seth Rollins started off Raw. Him and Riddle got unfinished business. I guess Seth Rollins wanted to they say bass in the glory, like what Keith Lee does, bass in the glory. But he got to realize that Matt Riddle won a piece of Seth Rollins and won the worst way of it. But Seth Rollins trying to avoid Matt Riddle Seth Rollins trying to get away from Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle does not believe that Matt Riddle wants a piece of Seth Rollins. He wants him. The last account of Clash of the Castle, Seth Rollins won with the curb stomp to get the win. Well, Matt Riddle thought he had his kicked off his night on Raw with a bang as right here, the Judgment Day. Real Finn Balor and Damian Priest came out there. They wanted to convince Riddle to join the Judgment Day. Riddle didn't want to join the Judgment Day. Riddle felt like he declined. He said the Judgment Day ain't his cup of tea. Well, Finn Balor said you can only time join. I think Riddle and what's his name? They cool. Riddle and Damian Priest, but they just didn't point out. But Riddle took on Finn Balor in a one-on-one match to kick off Raw. And what a match it was. It was a good, decent match. You tell me that. But Seth Rollins came out of nowhere and distracted Riddle to allow Finn Balor to get the win. And I guess Finn Balor can thank his lucky stars for Seth Rollins for helping him win that match. So we saw that in the early part as well. Well, we know that Dominic Mysterio, a lot of people have been asking about when he's going to cut a promo. He cut a promo on his father, saying that he's a man. He don't want to be in the shadow of his dad, Rey Mysterio, saying that Rey's holding him back and all this stuff. And you can tell Rilla Ripley is in his ear, telling him to say stuff that he really want to step out of his shadow. And Dominic have to do that. And Dominic's only 25 years old. Man, Dominic almost 30 years old. He grew up on television. Woo! I hear you. These kids growing up super fast. Dominic and stuff. But speaking of that, Dominic will have a match later on against Edge. We'll get to that coming up later in the show. Dominic versus Edge 1-on-1 on Raw. Well, speaking of that, Damage Control get an opportunity once again to become women's tag team champions. Bailey right there with her hairdo. Bailey as Raquel Rodriguez and Aaliyah defending the women's tag team titles against Damage Control. It just wasn't. It was that Damage Control. Damage Control. Raquel and Aaliyah, you thought would have won the match, but what's her name? Aaliyah got weak. I guess Aaliyah was the weak member of the team, allowing Damage Control now to win the women's tag team titles. Done so by doing so. Damage Control are now the new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. Damage Control done it in a fashion with ease, and now Damage Control now got some other gold. They got the Women's Tag Team gold and Damage Control on their way. If you recall, Bailey said on the bump this past week that she's not selfish and she wants to look out for other folks that she wants to take under her wing. And she has taken Damage Control, Dakota Kai and Euro Sky all the way to the women's tag team titles. So Dakota Kai and Euro Sky are now the new tag team champions. And somebody put some meme that Euro Sky is going to be sleeping better tonight because she is a tag team champion. Okay, so all is right in the world, knowing that Kai and Sky are tag champs and all is right in the world. All right, all is right in the world, but you have to wonder. We don't know if WWE is constant contact with the former women's tag team champions that had to relinquish their belts, Sasha Banks and what's her name, Naomi, to relinquish their belts. We'll see how this all play out. Damage Control and stuff. But speaking of Bailey, Bailey, um, what? Speaking of well, Bailey, well, you see Bianca Belair, well, I'll say this. Speaking of Bailey, observed and saw Bianca Belair, and Bailey could be a champion something down the road herself. Bailey, showcasing her hairdo, her hairstyle. Bianca Belair defended her Raw Women's Championship in a open challenge match. She defended against Sonya Deville, and Bianca won easily with no point. But Bailey came out there and make a point that she and she'll when the time comes, she wants a challenge for the Raw Women's title. She had done so before, but she just didn't want to do so. And now she wanted to make sure her her girls, Damage Control, win the tag team titles. I think Damage Control will be dominating the women's division with the women's championship on Raw, where Bayley as the champion, Damage Control as the women's tag team champions. Um, so I look forward to see that probably down the road. Bayley and Bianca Belair do it one more time, but this time for the Raw Women's title. Um, we'll see because I know Bianca Belair is going to be a fighting champion, and she's going to have to put all the odds against Oscar and Alexa Bliss in her corner. So we'll see that coming forward. Also, too, Seth Rollins backstage with Bobby Lashley. Seth Rollins trying to get in the head of Lashley and trying to tell Lashley that he hasn't been he's looking for gold and he wants gold in the worst way. I mean, could this be an omen that Seth Rollins and go against Roman Reigns at Survivor Series? That could be an omen since it's the 10-year anniversary of that Roman Reigns and Seth at Survivor Series, and I can see that being a possibility. And Seth probably getting the championship back off of Roman and be world champion, something. Some Roman, I'm not against it, but the top championship now is the U.S. title. So next week on Raw, Seth Rollins will get an opportunity of a lifetime when he takes on Bobby Lashley for the United States Championship. Seth Rollins has been a U.S. champion while being WWE champion. Now he gets this opportunity of a lifetime to take the championship away from Bobby Lashley, but he's gonna have to fight for it and defeat Lashley. I don't see anytime soon Lashley losing the United States Championship to Seth Rollins, but we'll see next week on Raw when these two former WWE champions and former your current and who held the United States Championship battle next week on Raw. Speaking of that, Dexter Lumis continues to stalk and prey on The Miz. What is Dexter Lumis' issue with The Miz? He has to have an issue with Miz because he is stalking him and making Miz fighting. So only time will tell on that what's going on with that, but it gets more intriguing week after week. Does Dexter Lumis have something over Miz that Miz don't even want to talk about? Only time will tell on that. Well, Austin Theory has had a problem with Johnny Gargano. It used to be part of the way. Well, Austin Theory, he enlisted the services of Chad Gable to take on Johnny Gargano, who's back in his debut match after 9-year absence. Well, Johnny Gargano in his match went against what's his name? Chad Gable. Yeah, Chad. He went against Chad Gable in the Instant Classic. Chad Gable and John Garro held moves and hold moves. It was that he was back being Johnny Wrestling over again. It was a good, phenomenal match and stuff. Johnny Garro back on Raw. He gave the fight of his life. I can see Johnny Gargano and Chad Gable. Johnny Gargano is more like the Daniel Bryan in a way of WWE right now until Bryan comes back. He'll be back. Bryan be back sooner rather than later. But out of nowhere, ambush attack from Johnny Gargano from Austin Theory to attack Johnny Gargano when Johnny Gargano was at his weakest moments, when he was really doing good in the match and he won. Good for Johnny Gargano. So they're bringing back a lot of stars. It's kind of like Raw has a lot of stars they're building and stars that they have now. So, but speaking of that, um, Austin Theory gloated how proud, how happy he was when he attacked Gargano. But Theory had to put his shut up when he tried to go against Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens tried to make it seem like Theory ain't nothing but nothing. Theory is just flash in the pan. Well, do you know Theory and Kevin Owens? It's Kevin Owens and Theory fought each other like how Kevin Owens did at WrestleMania when he took on Stone Cold. Well, Kevin Owens said to Theory, "Come on, bring it." And next week they're gonna bring it. Next week, Theory versus Kevin Owens 1-on-1. That's gonna be a battle. I know Theory is inflating with his head. What Kevin Owens was telling him, like Theory has the skills and the talent, the ability, but it's too arrogant to back it up. So we'll see this match next week on Raw. Also, two Almas appeared with MVP and squashed two jobbers. I could see Almas against Braun Strowman, a battle of the Giants. But you know they're gonna save that for WrestleMania. When you think about it, it'll be like that. Have them meet at Royal Rumble and let it be an issue from there. That they try to eliminate each other, and that's how you start right there. We haven't seen Braun Strowman on might be on SmackDown, but that's your match right there. That's your next WrestleMania match. If you want something big like that between them two giants, have Almas versus Braun Strowman at WrestleMania in Hollywood, and you'll see a difference. I'll tell you that right now. I'll tell you that right now. You'll see the difference in that match. And finally, hopefully we got all through everything we saw. Edge versus Dominic Mysterio. Edge looked at Dominic as a nephew. Dominic looked at Edge as an uncle. Well, it ain't like that no more. As Edge wanted to beat the respect out of Dominic. Edge tried to get Dominic to get his head out his you know what. But Dominic coming out with Rhea Ripley, who's been a voice in his ear, um, trying to pay homage to the late great Eddie Guerrero and the late great China. Um, Miss Poppy and all that nonsense and stuff. But Dominic had Rhea Ripley in his corner. Rhea Ripley showcasing to Dominic that he's more than what he say he is. You can tell right here. The Judgment Day, Finn Balor, Rhea Ripley, and Damian Priest. They collect the Guru. I don't know why Vince Russo and the rest of them think that Judgment Day ain't working. I mean, it's working, but I would have liked it if Edge would still be in the group with Bray. Edge be in the group. I guess they trying to battle the old vets, trying to battle the new guard and stuff. But Edge should have stayed in the Judgment Day, and that would have caused the friction. But they didn't want to do that, and it really didn't make no sense. Wrestling just got crazier and crazier and stuff. But it ended in no contest after Dominic attacked Edge and left Edge with a chair shot, even the Radar Superstar down the mount once again. A frog splash to the chair. So that, with that, so I guess we'll see. It was mainly more about Dominic tonight, about him breaking out his own and stepping out his father's shadow and stuff. So we'll see how this will play out down the road. All right, that ends your Raw Ring report. We're moving forward. We're moving forward quickly to Wrestling Hot Topics. On Wrestling Hot Topics this week, Triple H, the WWE content creative chief, May talked about Clash of the Castle being with stacks and stuff. The largest crowd, the European Gate, they were just trying to figure out the best-selling merch of non-WrestleMania, just every social media metrics, records being broken. So it was a lot going on. They talked about Clash of the Castle. It was a good show, but at the very end, they didn't they didn't pull the pull the trigger with Drew being the champion. Drew should be the world champion, but hey, what do I know? Speaking of that, Cody Rhodes and his wife Brandy took to Twitter. Brandon took to Twitter saying that Cody put the relationship first. So we want to wish Cody and his wife Brandy almost for 9 years being together, married, and having one child, daughter. So congratulations to Cody and Brandy on their marriage and stuff, celebrating their marriage. Well, speaking of that, Jerry the King Lawler has a million reasons to celebrate. Um, Almost 10 years to the date, the King passed. Someone had that cardiac arrest, and the King almost lost the King. But Jerry Lawler celebrated 10 years after having that cardiac arrest. I remember like it was yesterday, and it was kind of scary. I was like, "Oh Lord!" I knew he was alive, but many people they were saying he was passed away. Um, Jerry Lawler, fixture in WWE commentary and WWE moments with puppies and calling out good plays. Jerry Lawler celebrated his what we thought would have been his last. Speaking of that, WWE on the night had Raw with technical difficulties. It was kind of like a technical difficulties screen tonight. So speaking of that, Eric Bischoff and CM Punk are not the best friends, and they won't be having Thanksgiving dinner together. Well, Eric Bischoff appeared on his podcast and talked about the what he said about Tony Khan not taking charge of CM Punk, and it was just a whole mess. This is the quote he wrote. I'm going to read it in quote. I just can't imagine one if they do. My guests keeping them around till they can determine they mean AEW from a legal perspective, bulletproof. Otherwise, you got the disgruntled piece of S named CM Punk. So, how that even went, but how it is. CM Punk and Eric Bischoff ain't gonna be changing Christmas gift anytime soon. Plus, to SmackDown Women's Champion Liv Morgan talking about she wants to be in the cast of Chucky. Chucky coming back soon next month on USA Network, so look for that coming up. Also, to Rilla Ripley, we know that she's the mouthpiece for the Dominic and stuff. What's going on with Dominic Mysterio? She's showing off her new tats and skills, so good for Rilla Ripley. Mandy Rose could be coming in the longest reigning women's champion. You can see right here, she's inching closer to Charlotte Flair's record. She surpassed Paige, Io Shirai, Bayley, Raquel Gonzalez, and Sasha Banks. She could be getting there with Shayna Baszler, who motivated her to find something. So, congratulations, Mandy Rose. Chris Jericho tweeting that this Wednesday he'll be taking on Bryan Danielson in two, saying next stop to becoming the 8-time AEW champion. So we'll see. Jericho looks determined, so determined he'll be. We only have to find out. You see. What else? And I don't want to butcher his name. Nate from UFC has passed away from the age of 34 years old. He had stage 4 liver cancer. He told people close to him what was going on. We want to send our condolences to him and his family at this sad time. Also, too, FTR defended their tag team titles against Aussie Open. I remember Aussie Open from when they teamed up with Real Osprey. So FTR will get back into the fold and stuff. So I think that's all. That's it. That's it for the night. Um. Also, too, tomorrow night on NXT when we do the NXT Ring Report. This is the match right here. Pretty Deadly will defend the tag team titles against the Creed brothers inside of a steel cage. This NXT 1 year anniversary. This is their version of Taboo Tuesday. You vote. The fans voted, and anonymously, it's going to be a steel cage. So we'll see it tomorrow night. It'll kick off NXT. You think normally steel cages would kick off in the show, but they want to kick this show off with that. So we'll see that tomorrow night as well. And also too, we want to send our condolences to Queen Elizabeth. Queen Elizabeth was a fixture in all over the world. You know, she was polarizing and stuff, but she still remained humble and stuff. So we want to wish our condolences to Queen Elizabeth at this time. Don't forget, Viral will we were supposed to have Viral for tomorrow from yesterday, but we're gonna have it sometime tomorrow or Wednesday. We'll have it this Wednesday for you for Viral. So we'll look for that. All right, we're gonna end it on a high note. We're gonna end it with the Judgment Day laid over top their founder, Ed, to start the Judgment Day, as his group decided to expand and get stronger. We'll have the NXT Ring Report tomorrow. So for me being Kendra Dixon, so long, and thank you for watching the Pro Wrestling Show Ring Report for Raw. See you later.